Hello, welcome to the very first podcast of Day and Night. Today we have our three guests, That Fish, Zogg, and Myxzyzz.
Hello.
Hey everyone, it's Zogg. Nice to meet everyone.
Hi, it's Myxzyzz. You can just call it Mix.
Okay, cool. So our first subject we'll be talking about is global, and then we're going to be talking about the current events. And just looking at it right now, our first event that is up is the Halloween. So take it away.
So first event for Halloween is just kind of dependent on just farming with your Halloween units, right? Or for some reason Yuri, the 4-star Yuri is rate up. Is event bonus, like bonus rate, which is really strange. Not sure why, but I guess that's the move for farming.
Yeah, she appears in the story of that campaign for like 2 seconds, and she has like one line.
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the main thing I feel about this event is the extreme. Like, they made it feel like Carne Village again, so it's pretty difficult, and you kind of need specific characters to be able to do it.
Yeah, people were saying that the AoE paralyze on one of the enemies is often messes them up.
Yeah.
There's an AoE paralyze on the red pumpkin unit.
Yeah.
That's in wave 1 and wave 2.
Yeah, there's 2 in wave 2 and 1 in wave 1. So your whole team can get easily paralyzed by wave 2.
Okay, so I'm just gonna chime in. I haven't played this event in global yet because I've been a bit busy. But as I remember from the JP content, so there is like paralysis on the last couple of waves to the farm extreme, right?
First 2, yeah.
First 2.
Let's do. How is the undead difficulty?
Undead was alright. At least for me.
Yeah, not too bad.
I
run it twice using a tankless team with regen. They do hit fairly hard, but I didn't have too many problems with it.
Like, I'd say it's just the average difficulty for Undead. It's not too hard or too easy.
I would say this one I actually had to use a debuffer because like some of the units can like lose aggro and like hit my DPS, which is kind of soft. So I was using Halloween Aura as a debuffer, and then another like type of debuffer was Wet Iron, because you can stun all these units. So that just made it really easy. I could cancel out pretty much all like Halloween Aura skill, or I can choose to cancel out Halloween Mare's AoE. So just like whichever one you want to like not worry about. It's like 2 stuns and 1 skill attack will stun them.
Yeah, I was using Nentoma's AoE debuff that really like changes like the sort of strategies you can do.
I did it twice. I mean, 3 times. The first time was just my normal team, which is PA, Mare, and 2 DPS, and that worked alright. And then the second one I just tried with Darkness, Aqua, and 2 DPS, and I think it was a bit better, so I feel like this one is a lot easier if you run a tank.
It might be difficult if you're running Tank Albedo, because she's like tech and weak to earth. So you have Mare using earth damage, and then you have like speed aura. So that might not be like very good for you long term, especially on that like one wave where they have skill damage up, or they use their skills.
I think for me the main difficulty was in wave 2. Like the pumpkin maid just hits a lot.
Yeah, I agree. I think the most interesting thing is that of the event bonus units, one of them is a tank, and I've seen a couple of cases of people farming extreme where they end up almost soloing the stage for the one Halloween solution, just doing normal attacks just because she's so tanky she can't be killed.
Also, she'll heal herself on auto.
Yeah.
I noticed that.
So, surprisingly, a tank is the safest option for farming this. Because a lot of people are joining with bad teams or like very low level bluff units. Because like a lot of people are using Yuri, the 4-star Yuri, to like farm, but they're at like level 50 or 60, and that's kind of not cutting it.
could you get away with just like a level 80 like greed or like wrath or anything like that or not?
Really
I would say
depends on
no
your
because
luck.
the pumpkins are power, so greed would not go down well. Oh wait, oh sorry, I was thinking envy. No, well the pumpkins are a mix of speed and power, so then like it just I don't think it would still work that well.
I think it all comes down to your luck, because I've started with 2 level 100 evil eye and 1 level 100 irons, and we died at 10 wave 2. But then again, like I think I've played it 6 times now and I've only gone past it once because of the paralysis.
Oh.
That's rough.
Yeah.
You feel like the paralysis relic will actually be put into use, or everyone's like, nah, man, more deeps.
I haven't tried it, but I don't know. Possibly.
I actually
I think
It's like
Sorry,
Battle for First Wife gives you like decent attack chunk, decent speed chunk, and gives you that paralysis resist. Even though it's like 40%, I feel like that's probably like a good chance of not getting tased to death.
I think you probably see some people putting in evasion now, especially since the Halloween relic gives +2 evasion.
Well, yeah, that one is very, very solid.
I think if they didn't run the event bonus, this would actually be an easier event to run. Everyone would just use like Demiurge or like Wet Irons or something, and it would just be super easy to clear with AoE, like with a bunch of 5 MP AoE.
You need 4.
But now everyone's...
You actually need 4 AoEs.
Really?
3 AoEs, you still die on wave 2. Because if you just have one of the pumpkins left, he will stun at least one enemy. And 3 AoE is not enough to kill the big pumpkin.
They only have 25k health. Each AoE should be doing like 8.5k to like 10k.
I've done 5 games and so far I would
like,
think 3 level 100 AoEs could do it, but no, we still die on wave 2.
Never mind. It depends on like who joins your lobby and then like who has
Yeah.
max intimacy and who doesn't.
Yeah, and also like if they pumped in damage of the skills or not. Okay, so enough about the Halloween event from what we've seen. We can talk about the tail end of the Berserk event. That was for 1 full month, and we're halfway through. Any kind of concerns or things that you want to bring up about the Berserk event?
Yeah, I would. It really sucks that they took Skull Knight out of the raid shop. And if this is a sign of things to come, you can just like push the entire raid section of the game into the bin, because like there's no point wailing on it if they're not going to put like a 5-star raid unit on offer. Otherwise, because now it's just like, oh, you can get a nice relic and then some mats, and then just don't care about it.
Yeah, I saw them dumping Zogg instead of a Skull Knight, and I thought I was like,
Yeah.
man, that's such like a poor replacement. It's like better than
And it's still
nothing, but
really
like,
expensive.
Like
you still have to whale a fair bit just to get a max luck Zod, and that's not worth it.
Yeah, because even looking at like the future raid units, it looks like if we ever do get ReZero, that's gonna be probably pushed to a banner then, and then like Shoutier is gonna get pushed to a banner in the future, and that's kind of depressing because like even though you do need to whale a bit to clear raids, like that was one of the ways for people to get like an 100 luck unit without like giga whaling.
Also, I wouldn't be able to say on the specific numbers, but would you say that a free-to-play player would be able to get 1 copy if they like did well enough?
Oh yeah, no, for sure, for sure. Like in JP for raids, even if you like super like mediocre, you'd get at least 1 copy of the raid unit. So like you'd guarantee to get like 1 copy of Skull Knight, 1 copy of Shoutier, or whatever. And then depending on how much like hard time you put into it after, or like how much AP pots you farm, or like you keep from one raid to another, like you'd be able to get like easy, just without spending resources, like luck 40 Skull Knight. Or like luck 40 Shoutier.
Yeah, like that would be like the crowning jewel of a raid, and it would give you incentive to actually like plan teams and pull units just for the raid. But with that gone, it's like there's almost no incentive to care about raids that much, aside from getting some materials and the relic, which usually doesn't cost that much.
Yeah.
Like I'm free to play, and it takes me like if I like attend like most of the raid sessions in like 5 days, I'll already clear shop. So like, and this is like a 10-day event. and I'm like barely trying, and it's already done for at least for
Yeah.
me. So it's
Like
like why bother?
Yeah, I was gonna say this isn't one of those things I would like set an alarm at so I hit every raid window. Because in JP, I was like, yeah, I would do that. I would like set my alarm and be like, okay, raid window's open. I've got like 2 hours to like spend all my AP pots and then try to like rank highs. Because like, oh man, I really want like to get enough medals to redeem for like max luck. But then now in global, it seems like what's the point?
Is it okay if I like briefly bring up future content?
Yeah, we'll move on to it. For like global, we'll move on to it near the end of the global section.
Right. I just wanted to bring up like raids specifically that it looks like Crunchyroll are really going hard on the raids because they created the Konosuba one, which was new, and I believe they're going to create a new one for November. And so it's like they wanted to get to raids faster because it's paid content, but they took out all of the worthwhile rewards for it, so there's no incentive to pay for it.
Yeah. I wasn't really here for the Konosuba raid, but like, what was even in the shop?
The Relic.
Two
and,
of the Konosuba Relic, yeah.
Oh
and
man.
yeah, and just badges and stuff. I think there was also a large 7-color crystal.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, you want to know what's going to be in the November raid shop?
Which one is that?
Halloween.
I think it's a new one. No, not the Halloween one. The one
Oh.
after. I data mined it.
It's like the Gehenna.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah, there's going to be a Gehenna raid.
Yeah.
And you will look forward to Symbol of the Guild in the raid shop.
Hey, you know what? That's pretty good for some people who don't have it.
It's
But,
true, but
But like
Yeah.
the whole point of raid is to appeal to whales, and that's just kind of stupid.
Yeah. They move? I think they moved Shoutier to be like a banner unit, right? Instead of
yeah,
a
they did.
ranking reward. Like that's kind of nice, but like.
But she's at 0.5%.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on. Okay. So let's discuss like the tier list because new Halloween units came out for global, and that means new tier list came out, and then the lovely members of this Overlord Discord server that will be linked in the description below have made one, and they also included the slap on like a bunch of 4 stars at the bottom for some reason. I don't agree with that, but whatever. But yeah, no. I think majority of us here was contributing towards it. So, any reasonings of why the current units are where they are at now?
So I'd like to lead off. So right now, it was a little bit of a contested sort of thing, but at the very top we created SS tier for Nentoma because like it's really really early in global to be dropping Nentoma. Like she came out after Naz Eins in JP, if I believe. So the fact that we have one unit with currently the best AoE debuff because they didn't release Yaldabaoth yet, a party buff that's like 30%, which is pretty good, and that like really powerful 3-hit self heal, like all in one unit. I that has to be like she's like the most value unit in the game right now. So she probably won't stay there once more of the better units start coming out, but it's just like, yeah, to reflect the current state of the game, you can't do better for value than Naz Entoma.
Okay, makes sense. How about some of the new units? I see S tier has Halloween Aura, and then Halloween Solution, and Demiurge as well.
I did want to put forth that so immediately looking at the units, a lot of us were just like, oh yeah, Solution, easy S tier, especially now that we know they're not nerfed. But there is a question, especially for a lot of us who got lucky with pulls, how far away is Nurse Solution from Naz Yuri? Because we know Naz Yuri will probably come up within the next 2 months. Like, for all those of us that did pull her, is she good enough to use as our main tank going forward? Or should we still prioritize Naz Yuri? And that's something, I think we didn't really come to an answer yet, since Naz Yuri is now.
Yeah, because based on timeline, like if we get like a new maid each month for Nazfest, then she's guaranteed to come from this very date for like 2 to 3 months,
We're
right?
getting
Global
2
gets
maids
two
a
maids
month.
per month.
2 maids per month.
Yeah.
Okay, so like in 2 months then, because like we're gonna get our 3rd maid really soon. So like by the
Yep,
end of the
it's,
month, so end of the month we get one more. So like at least like 2 months tops, we'll get Nazarick Yuri, and at that point, I'd say it doesn't hurt to have more than one tank, because like if in some content, especially since she doesn't have damage reduction, like you're gonna get beat on like super hard by like turn one full wave wave one for enemies, and they all attack your unit at the same time, and they're hitting for like 3k 4k. Like that can easily like empty out a health bar. But defending turn one like normally helps you mitigate that before you can get some debuffs down.
She also has plus 50% defense when under
Yeah.
half HP.
I
And she's
I
a
honestly,
lot of HP.
yeah, I've seen some of her in action. I feel like she's definitely like a really good tank. I don't think you have to pull for Nazarick Yuri, but I still think it's a good idea to pull for it, because like once you guys hit challenge floor 15, like you're gonna be fighting like nothing but light enemies, and then there's gonna be like a lot of bullshit going down. So like maybe it'll be useful, because dodging stuff is always better than just face tanking stuff.
I think, well, if you're worried about getting hit by shining damage, you can just use swimsuit solution, because you get to minus 50% shining damage.
Yeah. So like, if anyone else pulled that as well, then if you have both solutions, I think you're pretty set.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah, so now I was wondering, like, for budgeting, I already spent a lot to get Myxzyzz. Can I afford to skip Naz Yuri since I got lucky with Nurse Solution?
Theoretically, like I've been running the same tank for like a year, more than a year. Like I've been running like NL Battle from like when I pulled her when her banner first came out up to like now in JP, and like it's fine. Even if I'm against a bunch of like speed enemies, like you still like tank through it because of your stats. So like if you pull a good tank, I think like an S tier tank, the S tier tank will carry you through all content. It's just kind of nice to like have some of the stress off, because if you're in like, let's say I'm using NL Battle in a situation where there's just a bunch of speed enemies that's hitting me constantly, yeah, it'd be like doable. But if I had like N Yuri, then the margin of like arrow would just lower a lot.
Yeah, and I think it was all on whether like you would consider Halloween Solution to be S tier, because I know APM was the only one of us who was really against that. He was pretty adamant that she would only be A tier, but most of us said no, she would make S tier.
Yeah, looking at it, when I placed her in the JP tier list, I'll get back to that later when we go to the JP side of things. Okay, besides that, I see other Halloween units. Just looking at it.
So moving down, Halloween Demi is probably the one with the biggest difference from JP, because he has a 4 MP AoE in global, and that's our first 4 MP AoE, so that's pretty big.
Really effective farming, as long as you pair it up with like actual like 5 MP units, because I can imagine like Demiurge. Oh shit, you can't run Demiurge. Oh man. Wet Eins, Halloween Demi, and then like Evil Eye, and then like I don't know. We don't have another 5 MP, do we? Guts.
Skull Knight Guts.
Skull Knight Guts. Man, it's so weird seeing Berserk come out so soon compared to all the other collabs. But yeah, so like if you 5 MP, 4 MP, 5 MP, 5 MP, and you do that for like the first 4 waves, and then you can go like 4 MP for like the third wave, and then like even like basic attacks, or even like a third 5th MP. It makes farming so much easier.
Yeah. So I don't have Halloween Demi, but someone that I like keeps joining my lobbies did, and he had max intimacy and max relics. He was like running warrior versus hero, and he was doing about 8k AoE damage on neutrals.
Oh.
So 2 hits of like 4k, which is pretty good. And then like on top of the paralysis, and then so it's like very workable for a farming unit, and like just pretty solid.
Oh, yeah, pretty good. And then I guess we don't really need to talk about Halloween Aura. She's just like Nazarick Aura, very similar in what they do, except more versatility.
Yeah, you trade better skills and better damage for the fact that she's a speed unit, so you can't run her against power, or not as well.
Okay, and then scrolling down, Berserk units, the 5 MP farmers on A tier. That makes sense, at least to me.
Yeah,
Griffith.
I think so just to talk about our logic in the tier list recently. So in a previous tier list we had a bunch of the AoE units in A, and we had some disagreements on that, and then we eventually agreed that yeah, the units that are good for farming, that's not really enough to get you into A tier, so they were moved down. So, but we kept the Berserk units up there because like Guts and Skull Knight are like pretty strong on single target damage, as well as having a 5 MP AoE.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. And Griffith is B tier. Makes sense. How is actually the new global change? They upgraded her from a 4-star to a 5-star.
Here?
Yeah.
Oh, they did do that, but no intimacy. So like, she still has 2 attacker skills, but like awful attack. So you wouldn't run her as an attacker. So she has the AoE party buff. And they upped the elemental strengthen by 10% for each element. But as we were sitting there thinking about it, it's like we really can't think of many situations where you would want to buff element versus buffing like attack. So because of that, it's like no, we have to drop her. It's like she has very little use that we could see.
So you feel like Crunchyroll just was like a big middle finger to everyone by moving her to a 5-star?
Yeah. I explicitly said, which APM disagreed with me, we got into a bit of an argument about it, that they did this intentionally to dilute the banner, because in JP it was just Guts or Griffith, and it was 2 banners, and they were like individual unit rate up on between the 2 of them. Like there's one Guts banner, there's one Griffith banner. So like we got screwed over because they're diluting the gacha rate.
Okay. So besides that, we have the new Halloween Shizu at B tier, and that's kind of it. And then I can kind of see your reasonings for that.
So I did want to talk about that. We spent a long time discussing Halloween Mare, actually, who's actually placed above Halloween CZ, and APM had some sound arguments that against neutral, Halloween Mare would do like good damage. But in my eyes, like Halloween Mare is just a like better version of Stonecutter Sebas, and we put Stonecutter Sebas that low because of the awkward typing of Earth on the Power unit. So yeah, I think like that would limit his usefulness.
But yeah, Halloween Shizu is like in the middle of B tier mostly because she has 330 speed, and there's not a lot of relics that can bail her out in global.
She's very high attack. But...
drop your attack drop your attack passives for your relics and just go for speed, or you like get like just plain attack and then just in a little bit of speed, and it still doesn't work out well, just because like you lose so much damage in doing so that it like becomes very awkward to use.
And the fact that she doesn't have a lot of health.
Yeah, she really needs a lot of support from the Relic, and because she has low speed and low HP, it's kind of an awkward combination to be supporting for an attacker.
There's I think some people mentioned a different way to do it, which is just like using speed debuffs and leaving her as a DPS unit with a DPS Relic and just bringing like the enemy boss speed down to her level. But the only like unit that can reliably do that, like within one turn, is like Wet Eyes, and that's just like one unit. Because otherwise, Pandora's Actor needs to do it twice.
Or
it just feels like Lobo doesn't have the options at the moment, right?
Yeah.
Alright, and then that kind of wraps up the current tier list changes. Besides that, what do you guys think of the state of global right now?
Got mixed feelings on it, because like the way they're treating the banners is like worse than JP right now, and I think that sucks for a lot of us. Like Berserk was the collab I was most looking forward to, because I don't care about the tier list, I just like Berserk. So the fact that this is that Berserk banner was the first one with 0.5% rate up like really sucks, and I think as Fish can tell you that 0.5% rate up really sucks.
Yeah, and I think the main thing was for me personally, the main thing I hate about what Crunchyroll is doing is with their step-ups. And the fact that they're putting like 5 characters or 4 characters at the end of step 10 is just... It's just really annoying. Like, I think... I would say it's worse than actual paid step-ups that JP has. Because like at least... at least on JP, what they're doing is like kind of helpful for the economy of the game, since it's like you're kind of limiting people from using paid, but at the same time, if they do use their paid stones, they'll actually have a pretty good chance of getting the characters, compared to global, where like the rates are so bad that if people do paid, and like if they don't get lucky, it's really easy to just make them want to stop playing the game.
Yeah, it's nice that they're bringing over new content like the new Halloween units, but looking at how they're having few banners with diluted rates, I can't help but think of ulterior motives for it. Just like thinking about it, creating a new raid was probably just to get to raids faster, because raids is like paid content for the whales.
Okay, and how about you, Zogg? Any opinions?
Well, so I'm free to play, so I just like save up like a small amount of stones and then go for it. It takes like a month and a half to actually build up to 4K, so it's actually not that bad for NazFest step ups, because you can like only takes like a month and a half of saving. Don't like spend anything like at all. Don't do any steps, and you'll get there. And like that's like pretty okay. Like just don't like control yourself for a month and a half, and you can get like whatever NazFest made, or like whatever pops up in NazFest that you want. But I guess like one of the bigger issues is for collabs and like special like limited units like Halloween, where like you're kind of just like shits out of luck if you want something like specific. Like for me, I was like, I'm gonna spend like maybe 500 to 1,000 stones, but I was like thinking about it, and I was like, well, who do I want? Halloween Aura, 0.4%. Halloween Solution, 0.4%. So combined, that's like 0.8%. So like not great, but if I was like only wanted one of them, I would definitely not even consider it, and I would just be like not have anything. I would just never roll for it. So that like really sucks, because like who knows like what's gonna come during Christmas? Like if they're gonna add more units, and then like no one's gonna know like what's gonna be worthwhile, or like maybe like you just want one thing and then like you just can't go for it with a rate that low.
Yeah, that banner's going to be a nightmare. I've been looking forward to Christmas Albedo for so long, but like looking at what they've currently done, they're probably like Crunchyroll, like they're going to add 3 Christmas units in JP, and Crunchyroll is going to just have like a 1 of 6 banner with awful rates.
Oh man, yeah.
The
Because like we had
Nazfest
Go on.
Yeah, the Nazfest banners, like Zogg said, those are really good, but it's what they're doing with like the collabs and limited. The fact that they're adding like a bunch of characters you can get at step 10 instead of just one character.
And not even that, like look at the Gehenna banner, where it's like the step up version is Yaldabaoth or Maskell Shelter, and the rate up is 0.5% for either of them. Like that's worse than what we used to have with 1%.
But it's still not bad compared to collabs and some of the other ones we've had so far.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
God, yeah,
Well,
they advertise. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go. Okay. I just have to do. Like, I do admit though that it's really nice seeing the JP Halloween units already being added to global. Like, there's no like, oh, like maybe next year, or like when are we gonna get it? But like they're already there, and honestly, like they're pretty great. Like it's fun to have them. I kind of like. There's definitely like a feeling of missing out when you watch JP get new units that you can't have in global.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
kinda
weird
like
the
that
chances
they're
are
different
small.
though. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
weird that they're different, and like even though the gap is much smaller, it is still fact that their ODs have been nerfed. So it's like, why did they need to be changed?
I guess like to like combat power creep, but if you're just gonna nerf the overdrives, that really doesn't do anything. So like,
Yeah.
I'm not
I think
very
it's like
confused.
the state of the game is a bit different, because like you haven't had like events come out yet, and like you don't have like certain other units left. So I thought if we release like a JP unit as is, then maybe it'd be like too good, and then when you had to release like the backlog of like units that haven't come out yet, then it'd be like, well, all players even pull for these ones when we're giving them like JP units now.
Yeah,
That
but
kinda
that doesn't
thing.
hold up because they're doing the Nazfest maids, and those are like best in class units.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy, I feel. Because like if you pull for like some of these, like why would you pull for like half the tanks or half the healers coming out now?
Mm-hmm.
Alright. Besides that, like we can look a bit at the future events. So, Gehenna plan, like that has a raid coming up, and then we have um solution coming out too, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
I think we also
Easy
have a
skip.
Halloween raid, right?
That too. Yeah, so the interesting thing is that all of the raids we've seen so far, like the bosses usually had a 50% weakness to fire. And there's an upcoming banner called the Assault Field banner, which is units good for again in Assault Field, and they include Demiurge like for the third time, limited unit my ass, and
Yeah.
PW Irons, who at this point, like we were discussing an interesting point when it comes to like a fire damage dealer specifically for like Chaos Field 13. The best fire damage dealer that is not a demi unit is Mask Eins because he gets the 20% power boot, 20% on type advantage, and not PW Eins who would otherwise be a much stronger unit. And it's almost as if PW Eins only exist for the raid.
Yeah. I think that is exactly what he exists for. He feels like a very niche role, and I think like uh people like what is it? Nazarick Sebas and like Halloween Shizu, they also kind of fill this niche role of I hit one thing really hard and that's all I'm good for. And that's pretty much what raid is in a nutshell.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, since the rewards aren't good, it's like you don't really need to build a team for raids like that much.
Mm-hmm. Is there any other global content you guys want to talk about before we move on to our next section?
Yeah, wonder what happened to ranking events because I think like I know they've had their problems, but I think most people generally like didn't mind having some sort of ranking event just as one kind of unit because it looks like Gehenna is not ranking.
Yeah, because they already moved the ranking reward out, and the thing is, in JP, I don't think we've actually had a ranking event for like a long time, like months upon months. Because like it's just moved because JP's moved on to just the point ladder, and it's 500,000 points, and then you're done the point ladder. But like in like global, Berserk is like 2.5 million, I think, or something, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And in JP, it was like 500,000, I'm pretty sure, and it was like, huh.
Huh. Huh.
It just shows like global has more of a grind culture, but like I could understand them removing like ranking rewards because that's a thing they also removed in JP. But then it also feels like you're catering to a different audience. That even comes to show how there's more things to grind, like for no reason, right? Like it's nice to have more
Mhm.
stuff.
I
So
wonder if the difference between that is also because Global has way more stamina.
yeah, because you
Yeah.
start off with 50 base more stamina, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because of that, it kind of just snowballs, like, where you're, like, leveling a lot faster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually saw in like the first like 4 or 5 months of the game in global, like everyone's like caught up to like JP levels of like levels.
Yeah, and we level up a lot easier, like way easier.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
Okay.
you can
Yeah,
really
I
exploit stuff now. Like, Wet Items in Power Abyss Undead will, like, one-shot like, his AoE one-shots all the waves. So you can just, like, clear it super fast and use player experience up to, like, get it even faster for, like,
Mhm.
extra experience.
yeah. I bought like 800 red pots with the stamina packs here. I'm like, oh, this will be really good for the next ranking event, and it's just like, no, no.
Yeah, I think
Ah,
JP, I mean not JP, Crunchyroll definitely. I think they're not adding ranking and using more raid because I feel like they felt like raid will help them earn more money. Because I think after one of the rankings for like an entire month, we had so many red pots, like red pot packs, but we didn't have pretty much any event to spend it on. And I think a lot of people think there's going to be a ranking come up, so they bought a lot of it. And I think that just made Crunchyroll think that, people are still going to buy red pot packs either way, even if they don't add in rankings. They now just put it in raid, which can help them earn a lot more money, like if you add the banners as well.
mhm.
Well, I think the only good thing about moving to raids is that like it doesn't kill all the lobbies, because like Crunchyroll did single player ranking to like get rid of modders and like um, auto clickers to like leech with, right? And now that like when it was single player, like multiplayer, like hosting was dead. Like there was like absolutely nothing there. Like for a good like 2 weeks of that. So at least with raids, there are some like multiplayer lobbies still going on. It's just like right when raids like launch during the raid window, it's like probably dead because no one wants to join to do. Instead, they're gonna do like their raid teams and stuff.
Yeah, I feel like it's like that because raids aren't worthwhile enough to really stick around and do more than just your 1 run or your 6 runs.
I mean, then again, we do have. I think the player base is a lot bigger for global now. Like if you're comparing this to, like even if you compare this to say the first ranking or like the second multiplayer ranking, there's just a lot more lobbies right now in game. Like even compared to when there was ranking on and the multiplayer ranking lobbies. It's just like a lot. The player base is definitely way bigger than before.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people were pretty doom and gloom with how dead the game was last month with like no event or no new event. So yeah, it's good to see that the game is still healthy. You know, a lot of people were like, "Oh, the game's gonna die soon," but yeah, I think that was a bit of like being overly pessimistic.
I think it's mostly because like people don't host because like I have like I think like 1,500 scrolls and like 1,000 books. Like I'm not gonna like farm anymore. And I'm not gonna host like farming stuff, right? And I think other people who are like at that level are also like pretty much same thing. So like we just wait around for events to start hosting again. But like if there's no event, then it's like we're not doing anything.
Yeah, I know. Like since I've effectively got infinite stamina with all these red pots, sometimes I just like grind scrolls like solo just because it's faster.
Yeah. Like the like plus side of like hosting multis is you get a bit more money, but then like the downside is like it takes forever to fill your lobby, and then some people like don't have auto on, and then they just sit there for 30 seconds, and then it's just a bit faster just to run with your own team, especially once you have the units to make easy free turn farming.
Yeah, and the one other thing I'll say in the state of global is like it's still full of bugs. Like, so I can't play on my account right now, and the last thing I did was host an int strengthen, and on the last wave, like it just got stuck, which is a problem we've had about since last month, where sometimes in multiplayer you'll just be on the last wave and then the next turn will not happen. So then like I restarted the app, and then rejoined it in single player, cleared it, got the drops, and now I'm stuck at a black loading screen, and even like transferring to a different device, like I'm still stuck at that black loading screen. And so like, I'm hit a pretty extreme case, but like the game is still full of like bugs in here and there. Like Guts hits the air. I think that was a known bug with Guts' attack.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, to explain it a little bit. Basically like, if let's say Guts is the last attacker, if everyone else attacks and like that like unit dies and the target switches to a new unit, Guts will like punch the dead corpse of like of the unit instead of like switching targets.
Oh man, that's hilarious.
I mean, the funny thing, I mean, it's probably good as well, is the fact that with that, when he hits, he still has a chance of getting another drop.
Oh man, that's nice.
Yeah, so you can just get 2 drops of the same character. It's like the second Kazuma.
Yeah, just kicking a dead corpse and another thing comes out.
Yeah.
Okay. It looks like that's it for global, and we'll just move on to JP real quick. And not much more to say about JP. Right now, we're near the tail end of Steel Butler and the Black Market event, which has a banner going on with, I'd say, one of the best defensive relics in the game, if anyone saw it. It's called Saint, and I had a video up about it a couple days ago. And it's pretty much a relic that just gives you a whack ton of HP and gives you health regen, so it's a better like Pomonga, and I'd say it's definitely worth pulling for. Like if you have like the stones for like relics and not units. But what are you guys' opinions on it? It's 3,000 HP, 700 defense, 5% speed, 10% health regen.
My God, but it's a gacha relic.
Yeah, limited gacha relic.
Oh, I don't trust relic banners. I've gone like Yeah, that one time I went like 8k into the Pleiades banner and got no made relics. It's like, no, I don't trust relic banners.
How about Fish and Zogg?
I mean, I'm not the same with that, but the relic is really good. I mean, that's about it.
Yeah, it looks like really solid. But the problem for me is like I'm using swim solution, and I would just rather just have more evasion. But 3,000 health is just so like fat and amazing. So it's like
Yeah.
so like so hard to choose. But then like would I pull for it?
Yeah. I
Like,
think
it-
it's always a bit more painful to pull for relics, right? But like end game wise, if you have your team, right, relics are what you should be kind of pulling for, and even then, you kind of have like a large stash of relics regardless.
Hmm.
I mean, in my
I guess it would
opinion,
just depend.
this relic
my
is probably
take,
on
yeah.
the same level as Eye of Sadist. Except, you know,
Yeah.
Eye of Sadist is a lot easier to pull than this relic, so at the end of the day, it's just...
No, it is not.
Well,
I mean, it's not,
technically
but
you have-
compared to this, it's probably easier.
Yeah, I was gonna say like you have more chances to pull for Eyes of Sadist.
Yeah.
Cause like
Like, at the end of the day,
man.
relics are just not fun if you're trying to pull them from, banners.
Imagine putting this on your healer. Never die.
oh yeah, no, it's good on healers, especially like healers who have like innate dodge, which I don't think exist. But
Well,
Yeah, funny thing, because like Saint Clem is on the picture of that relic. Saint Clem after buff in JP, she's got like 8k health. That's like she's as beefy as a tank.
yeah, and then she can have 11k health, and then heal 10% of it each turn. So let's say a match made in heaven right there.
Mm.
Yeah. Besides that, the event itself gets you the event relic, which is a bit on the lacking end. It's just
So
very
did they?
basic.
Is
event.
there like a new Halloween event or like a new Halloween event story, or is it just the same as the last year's?
So for JP, we got the banners released like yesterday, so we got the banners about a day ahead. And then the thing is though, we don't have any news about the like we're most likely getting the Halloween event, and we're probably getting a rerun, but like we're not getting it like yet. So like we have like a few
Oh.
days where we're just sitting on a nothing. So like it's just units to pull for. But, like it'll be probably like 3 days or something, and then we'll get the rerun, which will give us like a small amount of stones, and then the new event. But for now, we don't have anything. And when the new event drops, I'll probably put out a video for that one as well.
So you think if there'll be a new event with like a new story?
Yeah, I'm like 95% sure it's gonna be a new event. It's gonna be new event, like 300 stones, like 10k medals on Undead, like small ass shop with limit break materials, which are probably gonna be like red, green, and like purple because of the units. And then there'll be like a rerun shop, rerun of the event with a rerun shop that only gives you medals, and then you could probably get like a copy of the Halloween event relic that you guys just got, the Mare and Aura one. So that looks nice because it's still a super solid relic in JP because it gives you +2 evasion and some decent deeps. So I'm looking forward to that.
I can only hope that if it's a new event, that the Undead doesn't give Halloween Demi the AoE paralysis
Oh god.
as his skill.
Yeah, if it does, then like it's back to suffering. But
Or Solution has regen.
yeah, like you get used to getting tased. Maybe like anti-paralysis relic, or like maybe just like praying
Or you
old
got a
stodge.
solution. You can't
I think-
solution got that paralysis heal.
Yeah. So there's that. Besides that,
Yeah.
that's what events we have going on.
Yeah. So truth be told, like I'm still playing the game for the story because even though like the story bits are short and not well translated, I still find it interesting as like expansions to the Overlord world. So that is something to look forward to for me, like having new story events with like a new story.
Yeah.
Same.
I'm
Yeah.
glad that we have a new pumpkin maid character. When are we gonna get her as a 5-star?
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, they've given her enough skills for her to actually make her a 4-star or 5-star.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like they got like like a grappler Baki artist just to like make a super muscular Halloween maid.
Yeah, that's pretty much Yuri, man. Yuri is a grappler. But anyways,
That's
maybe
true.
that's why. Okay. So besides that, JP tier list just recently got updated. Some lazy ass took so long to change it, but it's kind of been updated with all the units. So what is it like? New Nazarick Fest character, the update with all the character buffs that we got in JP. So besides the original Flow Guardians and Irons getting a buff, we got a handful of units sporadically sprinkled to get buffs, such as like Minor Sabaz got buffed, Nazarick Fest for Kakaida's got buffed, Halloween Aura
and
got
Halloween
buffed.
Aura, yeah.
Yeah, so like it's just a couple of units got buffed, and then changes are reflected on the Japanese tier list. Just to point it out, the Japanese tier list is not in any particular order. It's literally based off of attacker, and then enhancers, and then healers and tanks, and then they're in order of like power, technique, speed, like knowledge, heart. So like there's no specific order.
Yeah, I think like looking at the buffs, I was like, when Global launched, it was like, okay, everyone save up for Rem. She's like the best single target healer. But like, yo, look at Saint Clem up there. Like, I'd say that she's on par with Rem, if not better, depending on if you want to be like a pure healer.
Mm-hmm. The only like plus side Rem has over her at this point is the HP regen over time. That is like built in for free, and then you could slap on like sadistic eyes on her, and then like you've got heal over time, and then you've got like full evasion, which is like super nice. And then Clementine can't do that. That's like the only like edge that Rem has.
Yeah, but like I prefer to run like having used Saint Clem for a while. I really like the AOE heal on Overdrive. Like that's a good like panic if something goes bad. A boss has an AOE.
Mm-hmm. For sure, for sure.
It does put Mazlufu in an awkward place now.
That's true.
Yeah.
Because Clem has an overdrive heal, AoE heal, so it's like,
And then like Nazloop doesn't. It's just this AOE damage.
Yeah, it depends on how useful having a 5 MP AoE heal is.
Yeah. Sometimes like being able to hit on demand is important. But then even then, if you think of like Saint Clem as a healer and you have like a good tank like Nazarick Yuri, you could actually go run Julianith, and then like you'd be actually like be super fine because like you could just like pumping up Clem's overdrive in between turns. So like
you put Halloween CZ in A tier?
yeah, so the reasoning behind that is she fills like I said a very like basic role. Plus in JP we have a lot more like options to like patch up like flaws of some units, right? With our infinitely wider relic pool and like consequential support units, like I'd say like maybe a majority of the population has like maybe like 25% of people may have like Irons or like Jabberdoff or like a good debuffer or like a speed buffer already on their account, if not more. So like you can kind of fix her atrocious speed, and with like any traditional comp, you have a healer and a tank to pull aggro and to keep everyone alive. So like the HP part is not an issue. Like if you're really worried about it, you can supplement stuff with like powerful punch stuff like that, where you can just patch up the HP to be like almost 8k ish, right? And then she just hits stuff really hard singularity, kind of like Perfect Warrior Irons, and she that's just her role. And looking at the way the Japanese tier list is structured, like B tier units are like not that worse off than A tier units, but there is that clear divide.
Yeah, I think it's interesting how like she's up there because in JP you have more options to patch her up.
Yeah, and still not the worst because what's kind of freaky is lately we've had like kind of like an event where you can get icon, and this is kind of like the test drive of your units. So like there's 3 stages: bronze, silver, gold, and there's 3 different levels. There was like Lizard Man, there was like Blue Roses, and then there was Gehenna, right? And like the whole point of this event was to like stress test your team, and then like you clear your missions and you get like a medal for it. And this is like one of the hardest contents we've gotten in all of JP, which is nice. Besides like the undead events, like the cautious hero one, which is also really high bar of entry, And even things for that, you can't just walk in and expect, oh, I can beat this out of a good team. It's like, no, you have to have kind of an idea of how you're gonna not die from 4 units attacking you before you can do anything. Because the speeds are so high that like unless you're running like Nazarick Irons with like a 100 speed relic, like it's hard for you to like outspeed the units before debuffs. So that's where buffing and debuffing becomes more important to kind of regulate turns. And then it's speed, like having a low speed is, if you're already gonna get outsped even with like 420 speed, then having 320 speed isn't really gonna be the game changer on those first early turns. And even then, after you kind of regulate your speeds to normal, like having her act last is not the worst as long as like you kind of like accommodate for like she's gonna act last.
Mm-hmm. The one other thing I also want to ask is, how do you feel Halloween Solution compares to the other 2 S tier tanks?
Alright, so Halloween Solution being S tier is like, if you look at the tanks we have like on A tier and S tier, like none of them have this like built-in like regen, right? They have heals, right, in their kits. Like we have like Seabass with a heal in the kit. We have like some illusion with the overdrive heal on her skill set. But like we don't really have units that like heal themselves over time. And that's kind of like you hit that holy trinity of you have heal over time, and then you can put like Sadist for the +4 levels of evasion, and then like that's like 50% of like every tank stream is to have both relics on at the same time. So then she does lose out on like the ability to get like a defensive buff on her taunt, but I feel like it's not the worst case scenario. She has like the most HP of all tanks, I'm pretty sure. So that helps patch out like the amount of she heals, and then she hits like 10k HP with like a higher relic, so it's not bad.
Yeah, it's
And
pretty
then-
much Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, finish up.
I was gonna say it's like pretty much trade damage resistant or damage down for getting evasion and regen all in one package.
Yeah.
And it's like what do you value? And I'm like pretty sure I'm gonna go with the evasion and regen. That sounds like a good life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she has good MP management as well. Her taunt is only 2
Yeah.
MP and 3
Yeah.
MP heal.
Yeah, so like 2 MP taunt, really good. You could just taunt and like you could just defend, and that's pretty much like the defensive buff at that point. Even in some harder content, you're gonna be defending anyways, right? So not too much of an issue. Heal over time does help, because when you do dodge an attack, she can just patch up whatever HP she is missing, and it takes some relief off of the healer. So that's super nice. I actually might pull for her now that I think about it, because Nazarick Albedo, I do need a tank for when it's a pure speed event or something. So I might give that a go later.
I mean, you guys have better rates, so you have to step up just for her, and we don't.
Yeah, so I might wait. Even though I think it's paid step up, so that's like, do I drop the money or not? Alright, besides that, I don't think there's really much else to talk about the tier list. Some people scooched up. I'd like to congratulate Momon for escaping D tier. That man suffered in there too long. Even though Kakaitis, Shouty, and Aura did get buffs, not quite enough to claw their ways out of here. But I don't know. I'm happy that they're buffing some of the older units, even though like some of them are like what the fuck, because it helps a lot for some of them. Like Clementine for sure helps a lot. Like even buffing like Nazarick Kakaitis, even though I feel like he's a bit better than where he's placed, but like
Pandora's
whatever.
Actor became very tanky and speedy.
Yeah, he became like he got 100 speed. Like what the fuck? So like you have like some good buffs to make some units a lot more usable now. Like they fixed this like dark single target skill from 5 MP to 3 MP. So like if you accidentally auto, like all hope is not lost anymore. And then changed his debuff to 2 MP, a lot more ergonomic with the costs. I think it's really solid buffs. And then if we keep getting them, like we can see some of the other like off units get better. Like I'd like to see like some collab units get better. Like maybe something for Tanya, because she kind of fell off. Anything for the Konosuba units would be nice as well. Yeah, and then
Yeah.
we got
I
like
feel like
Nazarick
JP
Pandora.
devs do not like cock.
Yeah, no, it's weird because at least they buffed Nazarick cock, but like regular cock, man, holy shit! If he got 100 speed, like I'd be happy if he got 100 speed.
I think they just gave him like 10 or something. It was just like, here you go.
Yeah, no. Nazarick Pandora's actor, like if they changed the paralysis from 7 MP to like 5 MP, that'd be crazy. He'd definitely shoot up.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
I just wanted to bring up one random thing that I think Cythriel brought up. So like he was playing around with Evil Eye, and for some reason, even though that Evil Eye's like AOE is like supposed to be like 66% kill damage, it does more damage than her attack.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've all
Even
tested
Relic
this.
would.
It's just weird.
It makes zero sense.
And she's the only one
Yeah.
as well. Like all the other neutral AoEs, they just don't do that much damage.
That's like kind of weird, and I have no way to explain that.
Well,
maybe.
I think JP devs are simps for Evil Eye. That's my best shot.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'd believe that. Alright. Besides that, we'll move away from the JP tier list and we'll go to kind of like the state of JP right now. So JP has a few things that Global can eagerly look forward to. The first thing is the recycle box. So I'm not sure how many of you here play JP, but if you do, you'll notice that the recycle box is an option when you're talking to the daily player that's made, and that pretty much just lets you junk all your old limit break material that you don't need of one element into another one, or for gold if you're kind of poor. So that's one change of life that's gonna make Global better, and I hope that does come soon.
They're definitely
then,
adding it soon. They've changed the layout for shop for us, and there's a coming soon tab that most likely will be the recycle.
The UI is changed to match the JP UI layout in terms of like the menus and stuff.
And yeah, the JP just changed their summoning layout as well, which I thought was kind of like interesting, because now it's like vertical instead of horizontal scrolling. I don't think that's as big of a difference. And then the second thing JP has that's come out is like questing for 3 different gates where you can send your units out, and then they can gain levels and find your equipment and build up bond, and you can do that as often as you like for whatever period it is. So there's like the 4-hour period, there's like the 8-hour period, and there's like the 12-hour period, right?
Yeah,
so
you get different rewards.
Yep, depending on which map you go to and like what difficulty you're at. So
yeah, for that it's almost like an about time sort of thing, because like a lot of other like mobile games and just games in general, that like that's a feature if it's collecting units, like something for your unused units to do.
Yeah, and even if like you use the units in combat, they can still do both, I'm pretty sure. So
Yeah.
it's super nice.
Like at first I thought it was limited to the units you aren't using, but then you could use a unit you have there.
Yeah, so that like ups the cap for bond from like.
Yeah, it makes intimacy a lot easier because you can get 10 extra.
So that's
does the intimacy relic work on that as well?
It does not work on that as well.
Oh,
yeah.
Really?
Because the game can't recognize like what relic your party is currently equipping on the unit it sends out, because it just sends the unit out by itself with no relics. So
I see.
Yeah, it just gives you XP and intimacy.
Yeah, it's really nice because then you could level your 2-stars and stuff, or like whatever else that needs leveling.
I think the main thing is it makes farming rare mats a lot easier. Like I've done it a few times now, and I've gotten rare mats so many times.
Yeah, like a lot of rare 1s and rare 2s. Like an hour ago, I got like a goblet and I got like a ring, and I'm like, man, that shit's so free.
Yeah.
Alright. Besides that, anything you guys want to talk about, JP?
If we could just go back to the tier list for one moment.
Yeah.
I was wondering how you feel the Berserk units hold up in the long term, since they're still like currently available for global.
Okay. So tier list wise, like I'm looking at the global tier list, right? Or like comparing it to the JP tier list. Um, I'd say like Skull Knight and Guts, they hold up well. They're like decent farming units that have like pretty decent single target DPS as well. They always kind of sit in that A tier, I'd say. Guts is nice with that random like I will not die this turn and then like hit super hard. And then Skull Knight not being a raid unit is kind of weird, but like I'd still say yeah he's pretty good for his stat line and his 5 MP AOE. I'd say like they hold up for like years or like until like even in current JP they're pretty decent units still. Like anything that's like still holding on in A tier, I'd say it's a decent unit in the JP tier list for global to pull for as is now. Some stuff will like rise and fall with the more units we get, but I'd say if you were to pull for Berserk units now, in like 1 year's time, I'd still say like they'd be good, unless Crunchyroll keeps releasing all the units at the same time as JP, and then we're gonna have this really awful like unit stagger, and then the future's unsure at that point.
Yeah, at this rate, I'm half convinced they're going to combine the Tanya collab with another collab just so they could dilute the banner pool.
Hey, no. What they're gonna do is they're gonna raise the vice captain up to a 5-star, and
Yeah.
they're gonna buff all their star levels up by 1.
Yeah,
So, like,
all
the
the 4
3-star will
stars
be
in Tanya. Oh my god.
Yeah, Tanya will be a
5-star,
6-star.
and then yes, Tanya will be the first 6-star, but then her rate up will still be lower than the 5-stars because you know, and then the 3-star will be a 4-star, and that's what's gonna happen.
Oh god.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's about it. Any last statements you guys wanna throw out before we end the show?
Yeah, and now we move on to the third section where we all talk about Genshin. No, I'm kidding.
Okay, cool. I think that's it. Thanks for tuning in to the first episode of Day and Night, and catch us 2 weeks from now. Peace.